Looking at the number of people, legal representatives who were in court today against Operation Dudula, I can tell you that reflects the seriousness in which this case is, but also what Operation Dudula is up against. Because they're up against local human rights organizations. You mentioned Siri, which is the leading legal team that's leading the main applicant in this case. And of course, then you've got the Human Rights Commission here in South Africa that is also part and parcel of that group, which is for the applicants. Then you've got Section 27. These are human rights organizations, and they've sent out legal representatives to argue on behalf of the applicant. And of course, they were detailing serious allegations. They were detailing serious offenses, which foreign nationals have been subjected to at the hands, allegedly, of Operation Dudula. So that's how serious the matter is. But what has been a problem for Operation Dudula, this case started back in May 2023. And of course, there was an application that was made first, which was to say, hey, court, we've got this situation. Can you at least for now protect the people who are submitting these papers, who are giving us evidence? And of course, the court did grant that order. So now we're dealing with part two of the order. The part two of this case now is focusing on asking the court to issue a direct order to Operation Dudula and government departments, specifically the Department of Home Affairs, the Department of Police, to say these departments have been failing to protect foreign nationals. So that's the seriousness of this matter. But what is not going to work for Operation Dudula, initially they didn't take this matter seriously. They didn't file responding arguments. They didn't file papers. And of course, the matter started today in terms of the actual hearings before the judge. And when we're about to start this morning, that's when one of the leaders of Operation Dudula say, hey, sir, can I say something, please? Because we have not made any legal representation here. We only knew about this yesterday. So can you just pause, give us space now? And of course, the judge did not entertain that, saying, China, this thing started back in 2023. 2024, we're in court. You can't tell me now, when we're about to start with the official hearings, that you didn't know about this. And of course, the other lawyers argued that actually they were aware. They just didn't entertain the legal process that was starting back then, and now it's too late for them. And then the judge made a ruling that from this point onward, you're not going to be part of these proceedings. We're going to deal with this matter in your absence. So that's how Operation Dudula is finding itself now in a very, very awkward and unfortunate position where they can't argue for themselves. The Department of Home Affairs does have legal representation. The Department of Police, the South African Police Service, they also have representation. However, they did not get to argue today because the focus was mainly on the applicants and the people who were calling for those orders. So we will be hearing from the state institutions tomorrow, specifically these two departments. To answer your question when it comes to the international interest in this particular case, we've got two international organizations and very credible international organizations who have taken upon themselves to make their own presentations before the judge. And one of those is the ICJ, the International Commission of Jurists. So this is the body that is home of judges globally, but also lawyers and advocates. They're saying that, well, South Africa has the responsibility, and South Africa has signed into various treaties that are meant to protect, immigrants across the globe. And we've seen South Africa playing a critical role in terms of fighting for human rights beyond its own borders. So it cannot be that we're talking about an Operation Dudula in South Africa that is violating, human rights of those who are not from South Africa. But their main problem is how the South African government is responding to these calls which have been made by these international organizations. So they're saying that by South Africa not acting, they are enabling the environment in which Operation Dudula is operating on. So we'll be hearing how then government is going to respond to that. But also the United Nations arm, which is responsible for defending human rights, is also in court, also making its own representation. They're also pointing out at government, saying you are not doing enough, but also they're telling some sections of the country's constitution, which they believe when it comes to migration issues, it's very vague. It does not specifically, detail which department must take responsibility and to what extent.